Hey, what is up YouTube? It's Malorn here, and I'm here with another wonderful video for you guys today. So today we are doing my very first Animalia video. So let's go ahead and begin. Today we have the island planet of Gorschule. Alright, now this is in video form. Alright, it's kind of like a story almost. So I'm going to go ahead and begin reading. Alright, here we go. I'm creating my own universe in a video series. This should be interesting. This is just one planet, though. The island planet of Gorschule is a planet covered in plant life. It is home to 4 ancient tribes of intelligent insects. The planet is an estimated 600 million years old, and compared to all of the many planets within 10,000 light years, it's also the youngest. Understanding that they live on such a young planet, the tribes on this planet have discovered crafty ways of keeping older and more advanced civilizations from wanting to invade. This is the only planet that has no history of religion, as many of the cultures here are born with an understanding of how things work on their planet. The planet is only 40% water, but is relatively small, only stretching out to be about 90 miles. It's not in the shape of a sphere, and it looks like an island floating out in space. The tribes. The Labyrinth Fly Tribe, a species of flies known as the Labyrinth Fly, has dedicated its entire existence to building the largest labyrinth in the universe. Throughout the generations, this tribe has selectively chosen specific members of its group to fill important roles in the construction. They don't have a leader and instead do everything by vote. The speaker during these votes is chosen in alphanumerical order. Their alphabet contains 74 letters, and they are born with a natural understanding of the language of their culture. Reproduction speed is moderate. The labyrinth flies are tied to the flame worms, soon to be explained, through a psychic link that gives the labyrinth flies a complete born understanding of all mathematics. So they completely understand math, every last bit of it. Their population is 100 million. The Mist Spider Tribe. A species of spiders known as the mist spider has survived within the labyrinth that was created by the labyrinth fly, within the labyrinth since an estimated 3 million years after its construction began. They provide a cover of poisonous and explosive mist through the labyrinth that deters most enemies. If fired upon by any form of projectile or laser weaponry, the mist will explode, destroying the entire planet, but taking every planet within 10,000 light years with it. The explosion is strong enough to rip a hole in time and space itself, if not restricted. As long as the mist spiders survive, their entire species, the explosion is restricted and will simply destroy everything without tearing apart time and space. If the mist spiders die, if they go extinct, then the mist will never dissipate and will become uncontrollable. Eventually, left alone without the mist spiders, it will explode on its own. This process takes about 10,000 years, but the mist becomes insanely unstable within the first 100. The mist is connected to the mist spider's body, and it takes about 10 years for a mist spider to fully decompose. They have 50 eyes and are the only known arachnid to be able to switch between 6 legs and 8 legs by slightly altering their body structure. Their reproduction speed is insanely slow. They do not have a written language, but they do have a spoken one. Without psychic link from the flame worms, the mist spiders would not be able to contain their own poison, and they would die off immediately. Their population is only 2 million. The Flame Worm Tribe. This species chooses to live outside of the labyrinth, but it doesn't stray far. They have castles and checkpoints built about 10 miles away from the labyrinth, and villages scattered around. The only species on the planet to use handmade weapons, the flame worms prefer to use their natural-born defense mechanism, fire. They breathe fire, yeah, just like a dragon. Some of them breathe blue fire, some of them breathe red fire, and very rarely, once in every blue moon, they can breathe black fire, which is the deadliest. They consider themselves the guards of the labyrinth, but none of the other species on the planet want to have anything to do with the flame worms, as they are typically a very stubborn group. Or so it seems. If they don't get what they want, they get upset. They have a psychic language, but quickly pick up on other languages. So they don't speak their own language. They don't have their own language. They speak in their heads, but they can pick up on other languages, and they can speak them. It is not uncommon to meet a flame worm that speaks English, even though they live billions and billions of light years away. Their psychic link sometimes picks up on other languages from other planets. They reproduce moderately. Unknown to all of the other species and a sworn secret of the very first flame worms, the born understanding of how their planet works. So remember earlier, every creature on the planet understands how their planet works. They are born with that ability. Is due to the psychic abilities of the flame worm. This secret is tied to the captured and preserved bodies of the first mist spiders through a mix of psychic energy and the deadly mist. If told, the secret is told to anyone who's not a flame worm, then the mist spider bodies are set to decompose automatically unless the psychic link senses that the secret has been forgotten by those who aren't flame worms. So some kind of memory wipe, maybe. Decomposition of the mist spiders, as mentioned before, leads to a chain reaction. Leads to the chain reaction of mist. The flame worms hold the bodies of the very first of each tribe. So they hold the body. They hold the very first mist spiders' bodies. They hold the very first labyrinth fly bodies. They hold the very first flame worm bodies, and there's a fourth one, and they hold their bodies too, of the very first of their species. So they tie their psychic energy in with each tribe to provide some kind of benefit to each tribe. Every psychic link is connected to the very first mist spiders to ensure that newer generations of flame worms don't attempt to rebel against the psychic link system or else risk complete destruction. So basically, if the newer generation of flame worms decides that they don't like being ignored and they don't like being hated by all of the other species, and they get mad and they want to take away all the benefits that they are giving all the other species, they can't do that or they risk their own destruction. They're kind of like the glue holding everything together, but the glue isn't respected at all. Their population is 14 million. The Wasp Tribe. The species lives above the labyrinth, just as the flame worm. They consider themselves guardians of the labyrinth. However, they glow with a bright blue aura that is brainwashing energy. They use this brainwashing energy to force acceptance upon the mist spiders and the labyrinth flies. The flame worms are immune to this and thus have been on and off again enemies with the aura wasps. If the aura wasps didn't exist, then the flame worms likely would be accepted by the other two species. Or so the flame worms think. No one knows if this is actually true or not. The aura wasps believe themselves to be superior to every other species in the universe. This has led to many skirmishes throughout the island with travelers that accidentally crash on the beaches while trying to avoid falling into the labyrinth. They rip their enemies' heads off and stick them on poles around the island. They don't sleep, they don't eat, drink, or anything of the sort. They just fly around and never run out of energy. This is due to a psychic link provided by the flame worms and connected to the very first aura wasps. They reproduce a lot due to their unlimited energy supply. Their population is 30 billion. Alrighty. Now, plant life on the island, as mentioned up here. The plant life on the island is currently unknown. None of the species of plants on the island have been named. None of them have been studied. And this is due to the fact that all of these species here live within a general range of the labyrinth, which provides complete and total protection to each species. So they never have to go out and explore, because if they did, they'd put themselves in danger, and they don't want to do that. So they just choose to stick around the labyrinth, or at least as close as they want. The only ones that ever go farther away from the labyrinth are the aura wasps, and they go to the beach, and they fly over everything. This is also the only planet, well, one of the only planets, there's a few others, but not very many, where the plant species are not known. So don't worry, I am going to go into plant life later in the video series. I'm not purposely skipping over it this time. I have literally created a story for every world in those notebooks. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is the first Project Animalia video. Remember, the island planet of Gorschule is what it's called. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, be sure to comment, and be sure to subscribe if you did. Give me your opinions. What do you think about it? I mean, I know it's not, like some expert writing skills or anything, like author-worthy, like Rick Riordan or something, but, it is pretty interesting. I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought it was a neat little concept that I came up with my friend, who also still chooses to remain unknown, and that makes me very sad. Something just fell. Alright guys, have a nice day and peace out.